Students, hi, Catherine Robertson here, Business 101. We are in week 6. This is the week 6 of 8 weeks. And if you log in this week, which you will be likely because you'll be getting this email or this video, I opened the rest of the weeks up. So week 6 is, we are looking at chapters 11 and 12, and we are starting to get into the fun stuff, the marketing stuff, the 4 Ps. So chapters 11 and 12 are on the docket for week 6, which is this week, and there is also a discussion 3. Discussion 3 goes along with week 6, and it talks about products. So pick your favorite product. For instance, a bakery you visit, a car that you drive, or a local band that you love. Think about the features of the product and the benefits associated with each feature. Now develop 2 to 3 more product features that you would offer as a customer. Meaningful benefits. And why aren't these features currently part of the product? Please respond using minimum 2 to 3 sentences. So for this discussion, really, so say you have a bakery that you go to locally. I like H&K Donuts. And I go there and they have a couple of seats there for coffee. They have about 10 different kinds of donuts. And I think they do a great job. So, and I might talk about, I like the fact that their donuts have, they're very consistent. And they have the same donuts every week, every day. They're pretty consistent with when they're open. And so what would be some things that I would like? I feel like their donuts are very fresh. They have a one-day donut, then they have their donuts that are, from the day before. So day-old donuts. So the fresh donuts are the days cooked that day. So that is definitely a feature of the product. And so, a benefit that I get from going there, I like the small town, small business atmosphere. So what would be some things I might say that would make the experience better? They might have more drinks. They might have maybe a little bit more variety of donut. They might offer delivery. They might offer coupons. They might try to have some other things beside coffee, maybe hot cocoa, things like that. So anyway, just thinking about something that you like. This could be any type of product that you already use. It doesn't have to be a local product. And talk about something you would do to improve it. You like it already, but how could you even make it better? So that's discussion 3. If you are looking, I will make a separate video for week 7 and week 8, and we will log into those as normal. I just wanted those students that like to work ahead with the holiday coming up, I thought I would open these up. Chapter 13 is based on pricing and placement or distribution strategies. So that is for next week, week 7, and then in week 8, you'll have your final exam, which will open on Sunday, 12/1, and your final paper is due. If you are working on your paper, which is your company project, the company that you chose, publicly traded company, and you are running into any type of issues, or you have questions about the paper, or you have a rough draft and you'd like me to review it before you turn it in, please ask me questions, or you can also ask Mary in the library. She is great at helping with the assignment from this course, the project. And then also in that week 8, the last discussion is a posting of your PowerPoint that goes along with 4 to 5 slide PowerPoint that goes along with your paper. And that is due during that week. All right, so circling back to this week. And your grades should be up to date. So if you are looking at your grade book and there are things that are missing that you thought you turned in, please reach out to me. They should be up to date. So if you've turned it in as of me making this video, you should have a grade for it in the grade book. So make sure that you check your grades in the grade book. When we think about the 4 Ps of marketing, so the first thing to do for this week is to watch the 4 Ps of the marketing mix. That really will help you tie into chapter 11, which chapter 11 kind of gives you an overview of these 4 Ps, and it starts to talk about how marketing encompasses more things than just ads and advertising. It starts to talk about utility and this idea that, how do our goods and services measure, how do they satisfy our wants, or how do they satisfy what goods are out there? Say a cell phone, how does it satisfy what we think a cell phone should be giving us? Like, what are the things that we think we should be getting out of a cell phone? Do we think that it should be able to connect to 5G easily? Do we think it should be user friendly? Do we think it should stay charged longer? All of the different things relating to a cell phone. How do we like bigger phones, smaller phones? How is it satisfying my need? How do I rate this? Do I rate it an 8 out of a 10 for what I think a cell phone should do for me? Do I rate it a 9 out of 10? And what's the utility of the cell phone? And so thinking about utility, there are multiple types of utility. So if you are looking at the PowerPoint or in the text, you will see form utility, time utility, place utility, ownership utility, really, thinking about, and all of these are quantifiable. So businesses like to, figure out, okay, here's how our product rates now with our customers. How can we improve that rating? And we can do that in any of these, we can quantify any of the types of utility and figure out how it rates, whether it's on a Likert scale. Are you able to get products to your customers in a convenient and satisfying way time-wise? And so if you were to talk to your customers, would they say, yes, we'll give you an 8 out of 10, a 9 out of 10? Or are they saying, we're moderately satisfied, maybe a 6 out of 10? So then that gives you room for how could we move it to maybe an 8 out of 10? Different types of marketing. So there are, not only do we have products, we have different places that you can visit, and different events that we might market, ideas that we are trying to change. For instance, things relating to climate change and is an idea, like how do we have a more green, or a smaller footprint? So how are we more green? How do we have a smaller carbon footprint? Those types of things would be ideas. The evolution of marketing is really tied to, if you think back to the turn of the century, last century, before the early part of the century, we had no need for marketing, really. We were still in the production phase, meaning if we think about Henry Ford, and we think about some of the things that were happening, and we think about the assembly line, getting products to customers, mass producing products. So really there was this idea of a production focus. And then once we were able to produce products, how do we sell these products? So we really then moved right into a selling focus. And it wasn't until after World War II when folks started, the economy was picking up and folks started having televisions, that we really ran into this idea of a marketing focus, where how do we differentiate? There's more than one car company. How do we play the game and compete against these other car companies? Not just in the fact that we have a car, but how is it better than our competition? So that's where marketing started to come into play. And then in the last grouping, we see this thing called the relationship phase. And, and this shows us through like 2015 that, we really started thinking about in the mid-90s, how do we retain customers? And this idea of customer service really didn't even happen until the mid-90s. Some of my older students probably remember before. We didn't really have a customer focus in the sense of building a relationship with our customers. And I would add that in recent years, we've also looked at how, like our environmental impact. So we like to support companies that are giving back to the communities, that are giving back as customers, that are thinking about the environment. So it's almost like a fifth stage that we are moving into as customers, what we're demanding from companies. So some of the things that, when we're looking at this idea of a target market, we think of, the pricing that we're thinking about, which is one of the 4 Ps. This text, the only thing I don't like about this text is that it uses the word distribution instead of placement, but the two are synonymous. So that is your 4th P, placement. Product, what types of things, features and benefits are we going to add to our products? And then promotion strategy. How are we going to get it out there and talk about our product so people know about our product? And so when we're thinking about some of the different things that influence customers and the customer decision-making process, a lot of us have different, we adhere to different cultural values or attitudes, or we might have different social attitudes or different groups, friends, right? A lot of times we buy the same things that our friends are buying, or someone in our family recommends something. So all of those things are part of ours. So make sure that you review that Exhibit 11.5, the elements that influence the consumer decision-making process. Psychological perceptions, attitudes, those things, what motivates us. So thinking about, what in certain product areas, what are some of the motivators for customers to buy those products? So when we think about our target market, we think about all of those different areas. This chapter also talks a little bit about research, secondary and primary. There are good things and bad things about both when it comes to a business. Primary data is really great because it's our first-hand account of, this would be where you have people actually asking about your product and about certain target markets. What are their needs? What are their wants? And you as a business design those research processes. And so then they are tailored to, your needs. However, this tends to be a little bit expensive, and it can be tricky and getting new data. Secondary data is data that somebody else compiled, and you are using that to kind of extract what the needs or wants are of a particular target market. And so really this chapter 11 kind of gives you an overview of the 4 Ps as well as the video clip. I do have 2 short videos relating to chapter 12, relating to products, and also to the different components of the promotional mix, which is a whole other area. So when you review chapter 12 starts to talk about products and promotion, 2 of the 4 Ps. And chapter 13 then gives us the other 2, in week 7, the other 2 Ps, pricing and placement / distribution. And there are a few short videos for you there too that go along nicely with the chapter. So the idea behind these videos is that they supplement and help give you another kind of look at how the chapter components kind of come together. So chapter 12 then talking about products and the product life cycle. Make sure that you are reviewing the short video clips, that you are reviewing both chapters, reading both chapters, and then reviewing the PowerPoint. And there are also is a homework assignment for chapters 11 and 12,